book a question, and the book gives you some ideas about what you can do. It does not direct you, it gives you opportunities to do something. It does not say you must do this. It says if you do this, then this can happen. If you do that, that can happen. And actually the book is about the theme of today, about frequencies, about vibrations. And let me start with an anecdote. When I went to China, my first time was in 1985. And I wanted to do practices. I was interested and practicing already for 10 years, Chinese martial arts and Chinese Qigong, so health exercises. And I had also tasted some Taoist alchemy. And I wanted to investigate this more and learn about the backgrounds. And so I went looking for teachers, and I found some teachers. My main teacher I didn't immediately find, but he found me. And I had a very brief moment with him in 1986, and then he was gone, he disappeared, couldn't find him anymore. So when I went back in 1988, I went looking for him, and at the very end of my stay in that period, I found him. And we had a good talk with not so many words as usual in Taoist circles. But he accepted me as his student, and so then we made a good, deep connection. And one of the first things he did was take a book from his shelf and show it to me. And instead of what usually people say when they give you a book to read, he didn't say, read this. He said, feel this. What do you feel? Now, this book was the I Ching, the Book of Changes. And he did that several times, also with other books, with Taoist classics, Taoist classical texts. He did the same. What do you feel? Not read this. And this was different from what I had experienced before with other Chinese teachers who usually asked me, how many pages did you read today? Instead of, what do you feel when seeing this or reading this? And it's important to stress that feeling, experiencing is very important when you try to use, in any way, try to use the Book of Changes. Because the main idea in the Book of Changes are symbols. And symbols cannot be explained. You have to experience them. They have to resonate in some way with you. Now, what you feel when you see these symbols or when you touch the book, and when you touch many books here also, when you try to feel them, what you will feel is something that can be part of what the Chinese call qi. Because what is change? Change is actually everything. Everything is changing all the time, and there is something behind this change, something drives these changes. And this thing is called qi. But qi is also that which changes itself. So it's both the changer and the thing that drives the changes. And one of the older texts on Taoism says that Tao is qi, and qi is Tao. So to experience, to learn about Tao and Taoism and practices like Taoist alchemy, you need qi. And that's fortunate, because we all have qi. Qi is, for instance, also your breath. And in a way you could call it the universal breath, because qi is what connects us with everything in the universe. Everything has qi. An ancient Taoist called Zhuangzi, or Master Zhuang, says about life and death, which we go through anyway as human beings, that when qi combines, qi collects, that's life. And when qi separates, that's death. But that's for the individuals and for the individual things. What happens is Qi just transforms, creates transformations. So the shape we have changes, and we become something or someone else because of this. And this changeable nature of Qi and the changes are expressed in this book of changes as symbols. And these symbols consist of two kinds of lines, horizontal lines. One is an unbroken line, and one is a broken line. And these we associate with something everybody has heard about, with yin and yang. The broken line with yin and the unbroken line with yang. And these two are actually yin qi and yang qi. So they're qi, and they're manifestations of qi. And they're just representing some aspects of the change. And while these symbols in the Book of Changes are just lines, and they are just there, and you look at them and you see a symbol, and then you think, okay, this is it. But then you don't actually understand the book, because the book starts to explain that these lines change all the time. And they're all interconnected. There's 64 of these so-called hexagrams, which are symbols of 6 lines, horizontal lines. There's 64 variations of them. And they are listed in the book, one after one. But you shouldn't see them as one after one. You should see them as a whole, a changing whole, which follows patterns of change and which express patterns of change. So the book is actually moving all the time. The only problem is that in a book, as usual, you cannot see, you cannot experience the movements. But it tries to explain this by, for instance, explaining every line of one hexagram and telling you that some of these lines will change in the opposite, and you get another hexagram in the book. And this is happening all the time. It never stops. If you, for instance, use it as a book of divination, you can see now, you can go back in the past, and you can also go into the future. But it's moving. The past is moving, the present is moving, the future is moving. So everything changes all the time. And that may be sometimes difficult to understand, because we think the past is the past, and nothing changes in the past. Well, the past is done, yes, but things change because we change. The way we see the past changes through our lives. You may think of your childhood in another way than when you were, for instance, 20. Why? Because there's change also in the way we look and in your past. So, philosophy of change is about everything changes, all is change, nothing is not change. And then this change is about what we experience, what we see, what we can experience in our lives. But there is something else. There is something that does not change. And this morning, especially in one group, I talked about this already. There is something that is not thing, that is not a thing. It's nothing. I told you, everything we see, everything we experience, we human beings, the chairs, this room, this beautiful room, it exists. It started to exist one day, it will exist for a while, and then it disappears. And everything that is there, that we see, that we experience, that we don't see, but is there, goes through this process of coming into existence, exist, and then disappearing from that existence. The only thing that does not do that is what we call Tao. And Tao is just a word. It means the way, nothing more. And it is a way. You can practice it. You can follow this path. And that's what Taoists try to do. They try to follow this way. But what I'm saying actually is that Tao doesn't exist. So I'm talking about something that doesn't exist then. And why are so many, did so many Taoists in the past and Taoists of today and Taoists in the future will try to follow this way that doesn't exist? Because this not existing thing does not belong to the process, or does not use this process of coming into existence, exist, and then disappear again. Taoism in general, but Taoist alchemy in particular, tries to extend everything, extend your life, extend your possibilities, make them eternal. And for this, you need to actually use your body to lose yourself, to get rid of yourself. Because that which is containing us, that which is limiting us, is our body. And so we need something, some practice, some way, some Tao, to get further than this limited existence that we have. And inside our body, we can experience things that our body cannot do, our physical body cannot do. If you dream, you can fly, for instance, fly without an airplane. You can jump for miles if you like. And you can have all kinds of relationships with everything and everybody that don't exist in your actual life. So we have something that is possible of doing more than our limited body can do. And this kind of experience that we have also come from Qi. But Qi is something that changes and has different qualities in our daily lives. For instance, one thing I said is that Qi can also mean breath. So Qi is your breath. You can see it sometimes. When it's cold outside, you can see it. Sometimes you can't see it, but it's there. You know it's there. And this Qi is actually that which drives everything inside your body, which makes your body function. And as I told you, your body will disappear. It's also Qi that does this, because Qi separates one certain time, and then your body will try to separate and lose itself. So that's what's happening with Qi and with the changes. Now, if you want to get out of this, there are means, there are ways to do that. And these means, these ways to do that, we call Tao. And different traditions within Taoism have different opinions about this, and also different practices. And when I stop talking, we will do a very small practice to let you feel something. I hope you feel something. And what you feel will be different from one person to the other, but it is what I started to say with the anecdote in China. You need to feel, you need to experience something, and not discuss or talk a lot about it, because talking won't help. Talking is about words. Words have a definition. Words limit things. We don't want to be limiting things. We want to get rid of the limits. And Taoist alchemy is about getting rid of these limits, these limitations, by changing, transforming your body, by understanding how the changes work, by understanding what the Chinese, what the Taoists call the Tianji, which is, it's actually technology. It's the heavenly mechanism. It's the technology of heaven. We want to find out how this works, that something gets into existence, exists for a while, and then disappears. If you can find out the secrets of this, then we can try. As an alchemist, you use a laboratory. Taoist alchemists used literally all kinds of vessels and pots and things and products, herbs and some kind of metals, and they mixed them all up and found out that you can make firepower by having their temples explode because they found out how things, when you mix them, can be very dangerous. But they also found out that actually we already have the ingredients in us because we have tea, because we are connected with tea, we are connected with everything. And understanding how these patterns work is much more interesting than trying to do experiments that may be very dangerous to yourself and to your surroundings. So the internal alchemy, as it is called, Neidan in Chinese, or in my tradition we call it Jindan, the golden cinnabar, literally, is actually a much safer experience. And what it tries to do with your body is, from a Western point of view, it changes your consciousness. It opens up your consciousness. Your consciousness is unlimited if you practice. And it gives you all kinds of experiences, all kinds of possibilities that you will gradually experience while practicing. And it starts with just some feelings when you do a certain stance or a sitting posture or whatever. It starts with feelings that may not be so comfortable. That's something we have, uncomfortable feelings. And as you progress through your practice, you will also get other things that are not so comfortable or that you are not so comfortable with, like emotions that are stuck, or psychological problems that you are confronted with, or situations you see as potentially dangerous for you. So many of the experiences you get while practicing are not especially positive in a way. But these are necessary. You need, someone talked about, asked a question about obstacles this morning. You need to experience your obstacles and then go beyond them, go around them. And the obstacles are there to find your way. The way is probably not into the obstacle, but around, over it, or whatever. And this is what you practice also. And so the practice of internal alchemy is a change of this, of the body. It changes, literally. Things work in a different way. I cannot explain much now, but the change is very profound. It's very different, a Taoist alchemical body from a usual body. But especially you will find changes in how you think, how you feel, your awareness, your consciousness. This changes quite a lot. And you will go beyond your body when you practice. It can be strange, for instance, that when you're practicing, suddenly you don't have arms anymore. Why not? Because you're out of your body as an experience. And this can be much more enhanced, and then you can completely lose your body and don't have a human perception anymore. You don't have this human experience anymore, but you understand, for instance, the universe. Or you can understand an animal. I once had a discussion when I wanted to write a PhD about these practices, which I eventually did. I had a discussion with my promoter, who was a professor, sinologist, and a Buddhologist, and he said, why are you practicing? You need to write about these things. If you want to write about ants, you don't need to become an ant. And I said, yes, I should become an ant if I want to write about ants. So we had a discussion and a difference of opinion. But in fact, this is what you need to do as a Taoist alchemist. You need to practice. You also need to read. We have books. We read the I Ching, for instance. We try to get into this. And then we use the symbols to describe processes inside the body. Unfortunately, I can only show you something on paper. This comes from a famous book about Taoist alchemy from the 13th, 14th century. And it has these symbols. And these symbols are trigrams, we call them gua in Chinese. These are the 8 ingredients, because you have 8 variations of these. These are the main ingredients of the 64 hexagrams that are in the Book of Changes. Every hexagram consists of 2 of these. And so they have lines, broken and unbroken lines. And so you have 8 variations. And we use this, for instance, to describe areas of the body and the possibilities of these areas. And this, for instance, is not about this is here and that is there. It has lines that connect. And these lines are about change, about transformation. Because we try to transform this and transform it into something completely different. And these are just the symbols that we use to describe these processes. And these are in text. You can find them in text. But you can read as many texts as you want. And then we come back to my teacher giving me the book and asking me not what I read or what I see there, but what I feel. You need to feel this. And then this becomes clear. And then you can use books. You don't use books to start. You use practice to start. And you continue practicing, even if you can read the books. But you continue with practice. And you start practicing one day, and this will be for the rest of your life. There's no day without practice. In fact, there's no life without practice. It influences everything you do, and you can use it in anything you do. You're always an alchemist. You're not just from 9 to 5, then like a job. I do my alchemical practice, or maybe less, 1 hour of practice every day, or maybe 1 week, 1 hour. No, you're always an alchemist. It never stops. And then you get the connection between your life and the life of Qi and the life of Tao. What is Tao? So we can use symbols to explain this and to show this, but it's not about the symbols, it's not about the text, it's about the experience and how this then vibrates inside your body. And, longer than a quarter. What I want you to do as a small exercise is we are going to stand in a certain way. You can remain seated just for a minute. We are going to stand in a certain way, and the idea is to create vibrations, not by yourself, but by the standing and how your body reacts to this kind of standing. And this standing, and that's just one more image, is actually explained in the first hexagram of the Book of Changes. The first hexagram that you meet is called Qian, which is fully yang. It's completely yang. And this yang that is there, from a Taoist alchemical point of view, is your Shen, which is your very, very subtle Qi, which is still changing, to become actually nothing, to don't exist anymore. But as long as it's there, it exists, it goes from being very yin to very yang, extremely yang, and then it can disappear. And this first hexagram in the book has 6 unbroken lines, and the text about that goes with the lines tells a story of a dragon. First line is the bottom line, and the last line is the top line. But as I said, it's moving, it's continuously moving. So you go from the lower to the upper. And in the lower, it says there's a hidden dragon. Dragon is a symbol in China of Qi. This dragon is hidden in the lower line. And then comes the next line, and then it says, the dragon appears in the field. And for a Taoist alchemist, all the lights go on, because the field is actually the center of your body. This is called, in a Taoist terminology, the field of cinnabar. It's a very important part of your body, which you can activate through practice. It is non-activated in people who don't practice. You need to practice to activate this. And then when it's active, under the guidance of a master or a teacher, it can develop. And so it also says, when this becomes active, the Book of Changes says, you need to go and see the great man, which is actually a word for the teacher, the master, who can tell you something, who can show you something. And then it ends with when this dragon multiplies in the higher regions, which also include the higher regions of your body. It multiplies, and it can soar. They can soar. The dragons can soar in heaven. And a very important thing it also mentions is that they lose their head to do that. It's actually a description of the alchemical process, where you germinate here, you create something here, which can be called a child, and this child grows inside your body, typically 10 months, 9 months in Western vision, Chinese 10 months, and then the child is fully grown, and it can be born. It's not born there, it's born there. It goes through the head. And this is losing your head, losing the limitations of your head. And then these dragons, these qi, these manifestations, these changes of qi, they go outside and they connect, unite with all that is there. So this, in very short and very lacking words, is the story I wanted to tell today. And I want you to experience now something. I'm going to show you what we are going to do as a posture, as a stance. Don't expect too much. It's better not to expect anyway. Try to relax as much. It's actually about connecting with the earth and connecting with heavens. And the position we use is very simple. Is this. Yeah? I'll show you. You stand with your feet shoulder width apart. That's actually the length of your foot between both feet. And then try to relax your legs, bend your knees by relaxing, not by bending them actively. Just relax and they'll be bent. And then, very dangerous, we drop our body into the legs, like this. And we bend a little bit also from the groin here. And when your arms are relaxed, they can hang in front of you in this position. It's not so important, you can hang them here also. But try to relax as much as possible and therefore go as low as possible. And just stand there, try to keep your spine elongated. Don't bend too much, just keep it elongated, and just stand there. Try to relax your feet. You can close your eyes if you want. And then, very Taoist, forget everything. Just experience. Okay, you can rise again. Rise and shine. And then shake your legs. I'm not going to ask, which I would do in a practice session, is I would ask if you have felt something, experienced something. I'm not going to do that because we're too many and there's too little time. But what I'm going to tell you is that some of you probably experienced some kind of vibration, some shaking, small shakes maybe. This is normal, and this is the hidden dragon that starts to move. And it moves upwards, and at a certain time it will move much more, and it will shake you much more. There will be much more and bigger vibrations. And by doing some kind of guided practice, meaning that your teacher will tell you when to do something, when to do nothing. These are called the phases of the fire. The fire has to do with your consciousness. What you do consciously, what you do with your focus, with your attention, will change things inside. But also the use of your body in a different way will start changing things. So the vibrations are normal and are the first indication that the dragon is not just sleeping and lying there hidden, it is coming alive. And this you need to feed this animal. And then it becomes very alive and very interesting in what it can do inside you and outside of you. Keep your experience, and if you're interested, well, one of the things we can do within this circle is feed you or feed your dragons some more. I thank you.
Wow.
Thank you all.